They tried to poison the king. They marched with 20 ships. They whispered betrayal into the Queen Mother's halls. But Ozu does not kneel, not to men, not to spirits, not to fear. This is the battle for the heart of Ozu.
When the drums finally quieted and the cheering faded into the mangrove night, Aboob felt the crown sit on his head like a living thing. Warm, heavy, listening. Ozu had a true king again, but in Ozu, a crown is never just metal. It is a promise and a price. In the corridors where moonlight pooled, 3 elders whispered like knives. "He is young," one said. "He is city-taught," another hissed. The third only touched the floor with ash-dry fingers and muttered, "Young kings make old ghosts restless." Iboob stood in the shrine alone, the golden mask locked in a coral reliquary. A breathless quiet wrapped him until the quiet seemed to breathe back. He thought of his mother, Queen Adesua, sleeping in her own chambers, guarded, dignified, feared by those who forgot how much she had survived. He thought of Ihunanya, the princess who had stood beside him through storms, the woman who made the palace feel less like a cage and more like a doorway. Gifts arrived with the tide: carved ivory, woven gold, and a scroll sealed with blue wax from the coastal kingdoms. An offer of marriage, Princess Ula, river-eyed and politically perfect. The council smiled carefully. Alliances, they said, are safer than armies. Mama Neka only watched the river and did not smile at all. That night, the mask throbbed with a heartbeat that was not his. Ebube lifted it with both hands, and the world fell backward. He stood beneath trees etched with living nasibity as the ancestors gathered like torchlight. A voice older than Ozu rose. "You have taken the throne, but you have not kept it. Trust no one, not even the woman you trust most." He tore the mask away, breath ragged. Was it Ihunanya the spirits warned of? Mama Neka? Or the river itself, which loved no king? At dawn, the wine taster slumped to the floor, lips black with a poison brewed from swamp nightshade. The goblet he tested was Aboob's. The hall froze. Guards swore their lives. Servants swore their children. Eyes slid one by one to the Queen Mother's dais, then away, ashamed of their own fear. Adesua rose in spotless calm. "Search my stores, my kitchens, my shadows," she said. "If treachery wears my face, let the river take me." Her voice did not tremble. It never did. By noon, palace rumor had outrun the sun. Some said the coastal kingdoms had bribed the head steward. Others whispered that Ihunanya had been seen speaking to a stranger through the reed screens near the boathouse. The stranger wore no face, just a hood, and a scent like dust after lightning. The council demanded the simplest answer: accept the coastal bride. Marry peace. Iboob stared at the blue seal. Peace bought too quickly, and most often bought you a funeral you hadn't scheduled. He closed his hand until the seal cracked. That evening, Ihunanya found him in the shrine doorway. "Say what they say to my face," she whispered. "Do you think I would harm you?" He searched her eyes and found fear there, but not the guilty kind. "The mask warned me," he said. "It said to trust no one. Not even the woman I trust most." Tears flashed, then vanished. She stood straighter. "Then let truth speak, not whispers." And so the truth was summoned. Not a trial of blood to test a child, because there was no child, but a rite of lineage to end the ugliest rumor that Ihunanya was the Queen Mother's hidden daughter, and therefore Iboob's sister by blood. The court gathered around the coral stone. Priests painted signs of memory on Ihunanya's wrists. The Queen Mother herself stepped forward and, before the rite could begin, spoke what should have been said long ago. "Ihunanya is a daughter of Ozu," Hidesua said, "but not of my womb. I adopted her after the War of Reeds when her mother died in the river fires. If you must test someone's honesty, test mine. I have nothing left to hide." The stone drank Ihunanya's tears and glowed the soft blue of found things. Whispers broke against the pillars like small waves and then ebbed. Ihunanya was no sister to the king. The air in Ebube's lungs lifted for the first time that day.
Relief was brief. Trumpets wailed from the river gate. 20 ships clawed the water, sails like white teeth. The coastal kingdoms had not waited for a wedding, they had brought a siege. The head priest, who should have prayed, smiled instead, thin and wrong. Mama Anneka's blind eye flashed. "Look at the priest's shadow," she said. Ebube did. The priest's shadow was facing the wrong way. The king did not waste breath. "Seal the eastern sluices," he ordered. "Wake the crocodile drums. Rouse the mangrove sentries." He took the mask from his reliquary, and it rose to meet him like a kiss that burned. Ancestral wind roared through pillars, lamps bowed, walls remembered their own foundations. On the river, emissaries raised the blue sealed banner and called for parley. It was a trick with polite handwriting. As Ebube stepped onto the coral quay, the head priest sidled close, whispering in a language that only betrayals speak. "Surrender the mask," he hissed, "and they will leave you a throne to stand on." "Show me your face," Ebube said softly. The priest's shadow peeled off the stones like wet cloth and stood up. It wore a hood and the scent of dust after lightning. Faceless, the northern sorcerer they'd only named in warnings had come before the war itself, sowing fear like yams. "Little king?" the shadow breathed, voice like moth wings. "Give me your door to the dead, and I will give you peace. Keep it, and I will give you legend." "Legend it is," Ebube said. He struck the spear butt against coral. Ida Allah sang. Mangroves surged like soldiers, roots knotting into a living wall across the channel. Spirits of drowned warriors rose, water streaming from their shoulders, and took their places upon the green barricade. The first coastal ship veered, the second shattered a mast, the third tried the shallow side and found teeth. Real ones, closing from below. In the chaos, the head steward ran. Guards cornered him by the crocodile pool. He was clean of poison, but his palms were stamped with the blue seal, the mark of a paid promise. "I only opened a door," he wept. "I didn't push anyone through." The pool did not care for poetry. It closed over him without a ripple. Night fell like a curtain cut from storm. Faceless whispered to the rain until it turned to knives. The mask burned colder against Ebube's skin. The ancestors pressed forward, their will heavy as ironwood. "Not yet," Mama Anneka croaked, grabbing his wrist. "If you open the whole door, the dead won't be the only thing that comes through." "Then what?" he asked. "Use less door," she said. He laughed once, because madness loves company, and raised Ida Allah. Not a gate, then, a window. He called not the army of the dead, but their memory. Across the river, every soldier suddenly felt what it was to drown, lungs tight, eyes full of silt, the hot panic of last breaths. They broke, not from wounds, but from the unbearable weight of knowing. Ships reeled, the line cracked. On the quay, Ihunanya stood with a bow that belonged to a queen from a century ago. She loosed 3 arrows and put the blue banner from its pole. It fell into the water and did not float. "Fall back!" someone screamed in a coastal tongue. "Fall back!" They did, most of them. 2 ships did not. They sank without flame, as if a hand under the water had simply closed.
Silence returned with teeth. In the sudden hush, the shadow laughed softly. "You have borrowed tomorrow to pay for today," Faceless said. "When the debt collector comes, do not say I cheated you." The shadow thinned, tore, and drifted north, riding a wind that smelled like sand and iron. Ebube stood on the broken quay, mask dimming, arms shaking. He wanted to be grateful for survival, but gratitude felt like an insult to the ones who had not. He looked at his people, soaked guards, wide-eyed counselors, a queen mother who had stood like a pillar through every gust, and a Hunananya staring north as if she could already see what waited there. "Send word to the river clans," he said hoarsely. "We fortify the gates, we bless the sluices, and we teach the young to hear the drums. No more secrets, no more half-truths." "And the marriage offer?" a counselor asked, voice small. Ebube picked up the blue seal from the whetstones and crushed it to paste. "Let them marry their own fear." Only then did he turn to Adesua. For a heartbeat, all the crowns and masks in the world were just noise. He bowed his head to his mother. She touched his cheek, a queen blessing a king, a mother blessing a son. "Power is a storm. You cannot stop it, but you can learn its steps." He found Ihunananya on the balcony, river wind in her hair. "The spirits warned me. I thought they meant you." Maybe they did. Maybe they meant the trust itself. Trust is a blade, Ebube. We just have to learn how to hold it. Far to the north, beyond swamp and savanna, a robed figure climbed a dune and drew a circle in the sand. It filled with black water. In it, Ozu flickered like a candle in a storm. The faceless man leaned close to the mirror of his making and whispered, "Legend, then. Let us write one together." And in the mangroves, where crocodiles speak when they are sure no one is listening, the water answered with a sound that could have been a promise or a warning.
Thank you for journeying with me through this story. Every tale we share here isn't just entertainment. It carries lessons, emotions, and moments we can all connect with. If today's episode moved you, inspired you, or even left you thinking, please hit that like button. It helps spread these stories to more people who need to hear them. And if you haven't already, subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss the next twist, the next adventure, or the next lesson hidden in these stories. I also want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What part touched you most? What do you think should happen next? Your voice helps shape the stories we tell here. And finally, share this video with someone you care about. A story can heal, inspire, or change the way someone sees the world. Thank you for being part of this family of storytellers. Until the next chapter, stay inspired, stay curious, and keep the story alive.